Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Jana.
How was your weekend?
Good. I was at an event most of the weekend or working on things, and it's good. Lots of good things happening.
You're so close to the camera, man.
Me?
Yeah, it's closer today than normal.
I could sit back. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Hasn't moved. It's in the same spot. There, how's that?
In the same spot.
Hasn't moved. Not that I know of.
It happens. It happens.
It's crooked.
And boom. Welcome to Double Funnel TV.
Welcome to Double Funnel TV on President's Day. Happy President's Day.
Is that why my kids are off from school?
That is why. That and everybody looks for every reason to not be in school.
Yeah, I get that. Either way, I spent my weekend at a school. We were at the University of Texas at Dallas.
Nice.
I know, right?
What was there?
Previewing the school. So my daughter got accepted. We just wanted to decide if we wanted to take that one or University of Texas or University of North Texas.
Got it.
We generally have a consistent naming style here.
Yeah, really.
Oddly enough, things I did not know. UTD is quickly surpassing, besides every other non-UT school, but in many ways, the actual original campus.
Wow.
How's that for different, right?
That's very cool.
Good morning, Jeremy. A week's worth of fighting and cussing, and I have access to my PC again. Oh. Yes, it's very frustrating when things don't work.
What? When did that start?
I guess for Jeremy for a week. It is the day to build a customer value journey.
For?
Let's pick one. We can do a private driver, which I thought was fairly interesting.
Private driver.
I know, right? Hair salon. What was the other one that we were able to do last weekend?
Well, we did the food truck.
I know, but there was like another option last week. I cannot even remember it. Can't remember it.
I'm thinking. That was like a week ago.
Or a consultant in the self-help space.
Okay. Okay. Choices.
Consultant in self-help, a private driver. I already forgot the other one. And we've never done a fitness one.
Oh, but we don't have a fitness one, do we?
No, we don't.
I know a couple friends that should, but why don't we do private driver just from the, because that sounds weird. I mean, unique.
All right, let's go here. Let's see if we can go to the Kyvio window. Got too many stuff open over here for UTD. And I heard it through the grapevine that they're going to get Tier 1 status.
What does that mean?
For universities, first of all, I have no idea. It's my understanding that for universities, it's like, it's about getting grants and research stuff.
About getting grants and research stuff.
So, like, think if, I don't know, they were trying to find a cure for polio.
Got it.
That would be one of the places they would go to.
Got it.
apparently there's only two. I want to say UT and Rice.
Interesting. Interesting.
If I can log in here. I think I changed my email maybe.
Did you?
You would think so. I'm not getting in. Yeah, I've got so many logins. It's not working. Oh, you know what?
What?
I'm not trying to log in to Kyvio. I was trying to log in to Business Growth Network Member Insiders. It was trying to log me into my own group.
I see.
Which is clearly still not working. I'm dying over here. No active packages. I am clearly doing something very wrong. Oh, you know what? I don't even need it anyway. I don't even know why I'm going through that mess. I need the CBJ. Just get that all together. I will deal with that later. Customer value journey. We did the real estate investor. We've now done food truck.
Right.
And let's duplicate this. There we go. So I don't mess up my original. I already messed up my original. And this will be for the personal driver. Alrighty. Now, I thought one of the things that's interesting, I think the cold air is blowing in my house. Maybe the hot air is just so cold, it's blowing cold. I think the hardest one was going to be able to find a way to subscribe somebody with this one. Let me get my sheet on over here. There we go. Tier 1 just elevates their status as a premier private research facility. Jeremy's got answers. They're special.
That's encouraging.
We figured it out because they're not part of the program that one of her friends was offered where they start at another UT school and get transferred over to Texas. UTD is not on the list.
Got it.
They're just as selective these days. Okay. So for a driver, how do you, well, I guess who would be their prime target avatar, they were saying, would be a corporation who needs regular people driven on a regular basis.
Right.
So I would almost think consulting companies. Thoughts?
I mean, I think that's one of the I mean, it's not disqualified. I don't know if it's the best spot, but it's a spot. So yeah, I would start. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, any place where you've got a fairly significant executive level staff that travels consistently.
What would be an example of that?
I'm thinking, probably Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 10, something like that, companies.
I wonder if that would be hard to get into, like those guys would already have contracts.
Didn't suggest it wouldn't be hard to get into. I just suggested that that's who would use them. I think when you're doing something like we are in here, it's understanding your avatar and where they are, right? And I mean, that's if your disqualifier was always, well, that would be hard to get into.
This is true.
You wouldn't, it's like, screw it, I wouldn't be in business. Everybody's hard to get into to a certain extent.
That's true. Anybody with territories, do you think they would need constant drivers?
With territories, meaning that?
So like, I think of like my husband's father-in-law used to work at one of these financial advising institutions. And for a while, his job wasn't as a financial advisor. It was, what's the person, not comptroller. You have to get through all your permissions through, which is why I don't do financial advisors. Compliance. He acted almost as compliance, and he had a territory over all of Texas and Oklahoma. And so every day of Monday through Friday, he was going out to visit a new part of, a new office in his territory.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be somebody who does not drive to their territory. They take a train, they take a plane, they fly in, they rent a car once they're there probably, but they don't, anybody who, leaves on Monday, comes back on Friday, or some portion of that. See, I would think that you are now straight in competition with Uber and Lyft, and so you're going to be a upscale version of that. You're doing a very similar task.
Very. So I think one of them will be SEO, a long blog article.
I think you've got to teach people why consistency is more important, or why, those kinds of things, because you're direct in competition with.
Why Uber is bad. Certainly a better title, but something along the lines. I know this particular person and this group of people have a very negative outlook of Uber, whether it's competitively or genuine, on all the reasons why Uber is bad, especially when you need consistent. So one of the issues, and my daughter actually faced this with Uber recently, is I couldn't get away from the meeting and the double down with bad traffic. She called an Uber to pick her up from high school to take her to her job at the mall. And as soon as they saw the line, I don't know, the line to get kids from all the schools is kind of a little intimidating. As soon as they saw that, they turned around and they canceled the car.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that it's not, I wouldn't do why Uber is bad. I would do why we're better. Why private service is better than ride shares.
The only thing I worry about that is private is whenever you take a contrarian view, it sometimes is going to get more attention.
I mean, it's possible.
I get though, I remember when Dallas tried to ban Uber. I don't get involved in local politics. That had me about to take a personal day at work and spend all day at town hall so I could speak.
Right.
Local PR. I think some cold postcards could potentially be helpful. You'd almost be doing it like Lyft does or Uber, where they're like, you get the first ride free. And then you just have to make that one impressive. I don't even think I would do ads here for Facebook. unless you came up with something clever. I think some in-person networking would be good.
Well, I think you've got to get out because again, to me, it would be an educational process, because people were frustrated with the taxi system, rightfully so. People were frustrated with the car service system because it was very expensive. And so now Uber and Lyft have come into the middle and taken control kind of on both ends, right? We're more convenient than they are. We're less expensive than they are. So we've got convenience and cost efficiency, right?
Yeah.
So private car also fits in there below limo service, but limo service is on demand. Private car is consistent. I'm your guy or I'm your girl.
Right.
So tell me why that's better. You're going to have to for me to do business with you, I'm going to have to understand why that's better.
That's true. I think that requires a ton of education.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Trying to think the best way, if you need business now for a car, I think I looked up Google Ads. There were a couple of Google Ads that weren't too terribly expensive in that niche. In England, it's niche. I think some LinkedIn articles could be good, carrying over that same information, some of that SEO stuff, and customer stories video, if you can get them. I'm not sure if your Facebook personal posts are going to be any way helpful because of the nature.
Well, yeah, they're going to be helpful. You're going to have to, this is a nurturing and educational process.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. Because, again, think about, at least many people I know have actually gone away from the black car service to Uber and Lyft because they felt they got a lot of stuff. I mean, what's got to be closer is how a limo service is marketed, how a black car service is marketed, than how Uber and Lyft are marketed.
That's true.
I would think. Yes?
No, I mean, definitely. I mean, some ways, like, Lyft and Uber, I remember Uber coming into Dallas, and they didn't go straight to advertising. They went to special events and said, hey, I know you're having an event. Hand out these cards that are just for your event, and we'll go and we'll give them, like, basically a free ride. So we know that you're offering alcohol. It's like the perfect thing. Like, they would announce it before the event. Use this code to get your free ride. So you could either get a ride there or get a ride home. And for all the people who had no idea what it was for, we're all like, what the heck is Uber? And it sits in there and you eventually use it a different day, or maybe you try it out that day. But a single car, a single driver, that becomes a lot more difficult to just hand out free rides.
Well, again, that I think what you have to do is you have to put down all the possibilities. The choice of whether to use that becomes your choice. I mean, if we were to analyze every possible entry into this and start to critically judge them, we wouldn't have a customer value journey.
right?
Possibly, right?
Oh, like maybe a 50% off. That's fairly significant, and that gets the price down more to still below, I think, what others would be charging for the same ride. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, no, I think again, what you're going to have to prove is that your service will outperform. So what are your, this comes back to what we trained on Friday of what are your unique selling propositions? I mean, is ultimately what makes you unique over somebody else, whether it is, you know, the car is going to be comfortable and clean every time, you know, so
what are the big things, like you get in a car, what are the things that would make you feel like above and beyond more comfortable in the car? Like, I think a call to check up prior to the ride.
Sure, call when, you know, actual call or contact when pulling up, call or contact when, after the ride, surveys after the ride. How can we improve? I think anything that adds to the nurturing nature of it, that you're important to me.
That's true. I almost think
So Peggy, as an example, with her Rover business now,
Peggy,
because my lovely wife.
Oh, okay.
We have, you know, like she's got a client that's bringing their dog for the 7th time in 4 months. You know, 7-time return, and it's because of the little things. I mean, this is a woman who would never leave her dog anywhere, but it's because of the comfort level that she's feeling. So, you know, things like, I mean, she does certain things to make them know their pet is cared about. You know, and but one of the things is the day after they pick their dog back up, so you'll say, hey, just wanted to check to make sure that Charlie got home and is back into, you know, being his old fun self with you, or, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's things like that. So I would think it'd be again, this is to a certain extent referral business. This is locking in, not referral business, but I mean, becoming the person repeatedly. Why do you do repeat business? So it's all of those kinds of things that you really have to look at.
Yeah.
Ride schedule, best routes. I mean, I think could you do a little 1-page newsletter that says changes in, I don't know, changes in traffic patterns, changes in, what if you were
to person care though?
Well, some do, some don't. Changes in TSA rules. Hey, DFW is now taking longer to process than whatever. See, think about anytime you telling me all sorts of stuff on digital marketing is helpful and really good. But I kind of expect you to do that. That's what you do. But if you start telling me, hey, you know, I know you travel a lot, and I just saw an article about the TSA changing how they're doing things, just thought I'd pass it along.
Those become like your partner or your topic will. So I do definitely think they care about TSA processing and that kind of stuff, because a lot of his, you know, the desired, you know, driving is to and from the airport.
Right.
that is what, I mean, that's just what they need, right?
Right.
I think that's the most consistent. Like, you could get in there some like medical, driving, stuff like that, but there are people already out there consistently advertising for that. So that's a different customer value journey. But for building the one for corporate, I like the TSA as one of the topic map pieces.
Yeah, I mean, just what would that, you know, what does that mean? You know, what, again, give me, how are you going to differentiate yourself over the Ubers and the Lyfts of the world, or the car services of the world?
That's true. Even getting a ride schedule, like if somebody subscribes for 50% off, do they immediately need to use it? Do you take them to a scheduling page? I know he said he has an app he runs. So I guess you take them to the app, have them download the app and get scheduled. I'm kind of just assuming the app has the capability for a 50% off, or it could be done manually or something. What would make the ride special? What's that excite moment? I think calling and texting the night before is a big one, because I could see you being a little nervous that, you know, you're doing this ride share program.
Jeremy said updates on current or future major construction would result in detours or longer average time. So again, in any situation, what makes me a better professional than somebody else doing the same thing? Right?
Yeah.
So it's any of those kinds of things. So sorry, I was reading his comment.
No, that's fine. Like, I'm thinking about it. Like, I guess there's not a lot of people coming into your inbox with that kind of information, and people don't watch the morning news anymore like they used to.
Well, it's so. We were talking about it. It was actually pretty funny. So I was talking to a friend today, and he made a comment about Aquanet. And I said, Jim, I just got to share with you that might age you a little bit. Right?
My great grandma used so much Aquanet.
Well, but see, isn't that funny, right? And so that's what I said to him, and we started laughing about that. And I said, what's really amazing is, I said, I really think that we could serve a lot of millennials if we just help them understand the reason things are tried and true is because they are tried and true.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so it's one of those. And so he said, it's so funny. His wife had their granddaughter come over, and she pulled out a rotary phone, a pink standard rotary phone. And the granddaughter says, how do you carry that around from place to place?
Oh, I remember even when you did have to carry it around, that thing was like 3 bricks.
Well,
and it had the handle on the back where you could pick it up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we were talking about, I said, boy, I wish I had my Motorola brick phone. And then he said, well, I had the one that became the armrest in the middle of your car. And I said, 1984, I had the spindle coming out of the transmission cover so I could hang my phone up. I get what you're saying. You know, it's so funny. People are like, what? What are you guys talking about?
What are you talking about?
Jeremy said, it's all about efficiency and embrace anything that's able to make anything I do more efficient. That's exactly, Jeremy. That's where I was going with this, is everything becomes value add. And what is it that you're doing that differentiates you from somebody else? How can you provide, whether it be, so what would be of value? But the other thing that I would think of, or just, and it kind of plays off this millennial / boomer conversation, but fell into there. And that is the vast majority of, I would think, don't want to overgeneralize, but the vast majority of the consumers of this product would probably be boomers or older Gen X. So from a thought process standpoint, so they're going to want comfort. They're going to want, again, the most current, maybe it's financial. We have an assortment of the Wall Street Journal, these business magazines, these business papers are in the cart, right? It's like, whatever, we've got a sliding glass window for privacy that Uber and Lyft doesn't have. Now, I get that might be a more of a limo kind of thing, but the point is, could you in some way somewhat soundproof the back from the front? Don't know. I'm just saying.
I think that's more on the limo side.
I get it. I get it.
I was trying to think of some referral partners. Who's in and out of an office all the time dealing with HR and admin staff? And this almost goes back to helping out Caitlin and the food truck. I've got couriers. That seems like kind of a natural partner.
Yeah.
Local printers like the Alpha Graphics of the world, so not the internet ones. Any of the office food delivery, the people who are doing that on a regular basis.
Grubhub or any of those. Yep.
Yeah. Floral delivery.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of, I'm trying to remember working in corporate America. It's been a while. All the people who used to come in and out of that office that we used to know by name and who would bring us goodies. I missed any?
Professional services of some sort. I mean, I'm thinking of, commercial realtors.
That's a good one. I just feel like in generally realtors, whether it's commercial real estate, and that just depends on who your ideal avatar is, those are just great for connections anyway. Those people make it their job to know somebody of everybody.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting. It's like my realtor when I moved down here 30 years ago. It was, where do you stay? Well, you stay here because these are great people. Who does your home insurance? These people, because these are great people. I don't think that there was one thing that I quote unquote shopped at all. Now I know that was a long time ago and things are a little different and stuff like that, but I really didn't. Why? It's funny, we went to a restaurant yesterday and the question was asked, what's the best thing you serve? And I said, okay. And she said, what do you mean? Okay. I said, well, why would I ask you what's the best thing you serve and then not order it? I mean, you're the expert here.
Yeah.
And so I think it's similar kind of thing is who has that same kind of the other side of it is I mean, again, intuitively, what just popped up is, how about like the J. Hildebrands salespeople and that make custom shirts and custom suits and made to order stuff.
What do you mean? How do you mean that into reference?
Well, so if the chances are that the clients of a J. Hildebrand or any of the custom clothiers, the people who custom make shirts or suits or ties or things like that, are probably working with executives. And if if the executive is willing to get a custom suit or tie, they're probably going to want some custom transportation.
I could see that.
Well, I mean, it was just as we were talking about the other stuff, it's just what popped in, you know.
Oh, wrong one. So this would be the custom clothiers.
And Jeremy said referral partners could also be the local hotels and guest houses. That's true too.
Local hotels and guest houses.
4 and 5 star, 4 and 5 star hotels. The concierge at 4 and 5 star hotels.
I would also say downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spell it. Just because that area is harsh. I think the local Airbnbs would be great. As I sneeze my face off.
That's no fun.
Because the local Airbnbs always are encouraged to do like a local, I can't remember what they call it, like a little guidebook or something when people come into town. So if you gave them an incentive, like obviously everyone knows Uber and Lyft, but you know, list me as well. Here's like a little snippet that you can just copy paste into your existing one. You know, act like a lobbyist.
Well, yeah, the other side of that is
make it easy.
Is mutual referrals, you know,
yep.
back and forth. So in exchange for you chatting with people about me, you know, I'll chat about you.
And then like coming over here to Advocate, it's so much, just very much the same. Like you already mentioned, asking for feedback, you know, what could have been done better, what was great, what did you love, why did you do this, you know, just simple things like that, like quick, because these people do not have time for like long questionnaires. That's like the biggest, like, you know, asking for feedback, asking for people to take surveys. The problem with them is you get people who give feedback and take surveys. And the busier someone is, the more on their plate, the less they're going to do this. So keep it short and sweet, where they just have to push a button, not necessarily type. Ask for the review if you get positive feedback, and if possible, ask for the video review. I mean, the nice thing about being in a car is you have a captive audience, especially if they're doing the ride for another time. You know, it's not their first time.
Right.
They can do a video review in the car.
Right.
And then offer a referral gift cash, just like everyone else. Like in the car business, you don't have any rules against doing that. It's easy to just say, you know, we'll give you a percentage, or we'll hook you some kind of hookup for a referral gift. And kind of going back to here, even the review, let's say the video review, offer a discount on the ride. Hey, if while you're in the car, you do a quick video review, and I don't care if you do it on your phone and upload it to somewhere, or, you know, do it on our Facebook page, do it on your Facebook page. But if you do one, we'll hook you up on a discount, $5-10.
Yeah.
$10 savings. I'd turn on my camera and do a video review.
Sure.
Let's see what else. Offer a referral gift. And even to your partners. I mean, no reason to leave these guys out of the loop. If somebody said I came because it was in the Airbnb, hook your Airbnb up. Maybe you can't send them enough people, because by the time you get someone, they're already in a hotel. But if for every ride you give them a little hookup, they're going to be more inclined to take care of you.
Agreed.
Let's see. What else are we missing? I'd like to do some more on the Aware side. I feel like and we've kind of mentioned this a lot in the last 2 weeks, like, okay, so let's say you build this entire funnel. Then it all comes down to this right here, awareness. How much traffic can you throw at the problem?
Right. I think that there, the in-person networking is of value, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think there's other, I'm just trying to think of where, novel concept, fish where the fish are.
Uh-huh.
I'm just trying to think where the fish are. The other place that I would, how about fundraising events, nonprofit, support nonprofit events. As a, so auction off become part of a silent auction because the people who are at nonprofit events and silent auctions are people that typically the reason they're there is they have money, they have status, they have position, they have
disposable money
for that kind of thing. So if your service, what if you could be the driver for, so let's just say a nonprofit like I'm speaking for a fundraising event in March here in Dallas. Now I'm not flying in, but let's just say that they had a speaker fly in, be the person that took care of that speaker, right?
Yep.
That's be your service for the nonprofit. Because if the nonprofit has this is now you become the go-to for the nonprofit, but the speaker, if he says, are you with Lyft? No. Are you with Uber? No. Are you with a limo? No, I do. You have the opportunity because you got them captive. I am a private car service that specializes in executives who want extraordinary service all the time. Well, the reason I'm flew in to speak at this event is because I'm in Dallas a lot. Could I use you every time I come here? Sure. So I could see something like that potentially happening.
I like it.
And it's for a good cause anyway.
Right. No, I think those donating, I would say you could, there's both, there's donating, let me put it in a different line. And then there's also like maybe giving someone there a ride home, like a dignitary. Like I know in junior league when we had events, there was always an honorary guest.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Anything that you could do, it doesn't have to be, like just the speaker flying in or whatever, but it could be one of the perks. Yeah, one of your perks for being the president of XYZ and everything you've done is we'll pick you up and deliver you, so that you can ride in style. You've done a lot of work where you've donated your time and effort. Let me donate time and effort back to you. See, it's funny because we were just talking about that because the event that we did this weekend had a charitable event tied after it. And people are like, gosh, I wish I could meet all those people. Well, why don't you buy a ticket and go to that event? What?
Right.
Either. I'm not suggesting you're going to meet everybody, but I can tell you where they are if you want to.
Yeah, right. Can't necessarily get you there, but I think that's interesting. Everyone's like, I'll go and this person will be there. And like, what are you going to do? Just walk up like, okay. There's going to be a lot of people there. You have the opportunity to meet them. But oddly enough, sometimes the most important person to meet at an event is not the person with the most notoriety.
No doubt.
And everyone's trying to rush the person with the biggest name, but that's not necessarily the person that can help you best.
I've shared that story before, haven't I? When I was, I went to an event out in LA and met Richard Branson and had a nice conversation with him. But, you know, pretty much everybody there wanted to get their picture taken and, you know, and talk to Richard. And
right.
So after I did, I looked over to the right and there was this lovely older lady sitting at a table all by herself. And so it just intrigued me. So I walked over and I said, well, you look very lovely this evening. And she said, thank you very much. I said, can I join you? She goes, that'd be wonderful. I said, so how are you at this event? She goes, oh, Richie's my son. It was Eve Branson, Richard's mother. And I sat with her for the next hour. Nobody else came up to her.
Well, nobody else even knew.
I didn't know. But again, it was, so my point is that if there's certain people you want to meet, go to the places go fish where the fish are.
It seems so simple and yet so far away. Like you have to know where the fish are.
You get a pretty good idea a lot of the times, right?
Yeah, sometimes, and you know, I mean, I think the most telling one is our member Randy, and he was going to a networking event, and I'm just sitting in this room listening to his speech and everyone else's. I was like, dude, you're nowhere near in the room that you need to be in, and the people in this room don't even know the people that you need to be around. Pick a different way to spend 3 hours of your time each week.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like sometimes that's a little harsh. That's not what people want to hear, but still I'm like, wrong room, dude.
Well, it's exactly what they don't want to hear. There's not a doubt they don't want to hear that.
All right, let's see. I feel like we finished up kind of early.
I think it's many of these become similar.
They do, which is interesting. I think that pattern is interesting.
Well, it makes it more universal, and I think there's some foundational things from a training side. There's some foundational things you do. It was absolutely fascinating to me this weekend because it opened up some pretty significant opportunity for me as a trainer and a whatever. But we were talking about some stuff in what many times is phenomenally common sense to you is not common sense to somebody else. And what is how to address something is just not. And I was told repeatedly, oh my God, nobody teaches what you're teaching us here. And I said, well, I do.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we need more of this. Okay. So, I mean, that's the point is sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You tend to
the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
You got to get both of those.
God, I used to teach it that way too. There's actually a great quote. That was Jerry Rumsfeld's quote.
I didn't know if he was the first one to say it. It's such a common thing for us to say in the military. I didn't know if it was him or.
It's so funny. I've had that quote in that I used to use it all the time in trainings. There are known knowns. There are things that we know that we know. Then there are known unknowns. There are things that we know we don't know. And there are more known unknowns every day, so we have to know more.
What?
It's clear now, isn't it? Anyway, it's a
clear as
great
mud. So opening up a new one up here, and this one I was just going to make because it's pretty obvious to me that there are some straight up commonalities. So creating one of these for when we do them in the future that are pretty universal to all, or best way it's at least easy to delete.
Well, I think that's the other side of this is these customer value journeys are becoming faster because we're actually working off other ones. We're more confirming that, yes, that would work here as well versus the first time we ever brought them up or talked them through.
Right.
So that's the other reason they're happening faster, you know, which is okay.
See, who else can you get the review from? Oh, Google Plus.
So I was going to ask, wasn't that going to die?
So Google Plus was going to die a slow death because they were trying to copy Facebook. In fact, it did just die. Like literally, I think last week they gave up. However, they're kind of like switching it over. I don't know if it's not going to be called Google Plus anymore, but they're kind of taking pieces of the platform and it's going to be more like a Yelp. And so they've been attracting and trying to build these groups of small business owners in each area. I'm in both. The other side of that is be like the Yelp with the reviews, because when you Google a business, the reviews pop right up to the right, especially if you Google the exact name. And so they want to make their review system more stringent, more helpful, more useful, so that business owners are more inclined. Yes, Jeremy, completely discontinued. I've gotten notices all the last couple of weeks getting me like notice that the groups are going away and all the different pieces are going away, and making sure you have a business set up on, like, so you have your personal Google account like you would have a Facebook account, and then you have a business account that's like attached to your personal account, but it's separate in a specific business listing. And then they want to connect all the business owners. They've had some events and I haven't been able to make them out, but they were pretty cool events. And then they've also been trying to create like what the Yelp Elite is doing, so that just because I've written so many Google reviews, I'm already like on this top tier status. So even offering events for me as a reviewer, which I thought was interesting. So their biggest place to me is in that review space, because when you Google, it pops up right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, for a time being, they were actually pulling up Yelp stats, which got them in a little bit of trouble. They, I think through partnership, pull in Facebook stats now too. But I think that's going to be the next big place. But what I love about Facebook, Yelp, LinkedIn, and Google Plus reviews is they're all online, visible to other people, where other people can see them. The downside to LinkedIn is it is attached to your personal. You cannot review a business. You have to review the person. So they can't review Scott Schilling Sales, but they can review Scott Schilling.
Got it.
So either way, it is visible. It is right there on the internet, like attached to someone's name, right? Which I think is critical. It's not you just saying, yeah, somebody wrote that really awesome review for me. I'm cool with paper too. I think paper is cool, old school to like display in the office. And the other one could just be a post, and this really depends on what kind of market, like what you're looking for out of your review. But, you know, we have one client where their moms don't take the time to, you know, constantly talk about their school because they're doing things like working. But having those moms turn around and make a personal post about your school, that has a lot of weight just as much as a review can, especially if you can document it, screenshot it of some sort like that.
Yipper.
Yipper.
I like it.
Always want referral partners. Realtors are always a great one.
Yep.
Let's see. This is your core offer. We're always going to have a profit maximizer, something ridiculous. And the one I don't think should be left out at all is your ability to be an affiliate for someone else. And that could be like in the same way we're offering referral and partner credit over there, that you're just doing that for somebody else. Google Ads. Those are going to be my core right there. I'll work on that too. I don't want to take everyone too long since we are here at the end of our time and my computer is letting me know it'd rather die than keep doing this.
Perfect. All right.
Let's see, Jeremy, I'm a local guide on Google too. Yeah, it's a super limited edition elite group.
Yeah, really.
Everyone listening, go be a local guide. But if you'd like us to work on your business, head over to devilfunnel.tv. Requirements are fairly simple. You do have to be a Business Growth Network member, but it's only $17 a month. And if you're not willing to invest that and the cost of getting Kyvio, which is what we are building in, then no offense, but you're not ready to be in business yet. So
exactly.
I know. Is that harsh?
No, it's just true.
All right, Scott, I will let you go. Thanks for joining us today. As long as Jeremy and Jefferson, we got the J's, Jenna, Jefferson, and Jeremy.
That's right.
You're the odd man out today.
That's the way it works.
Y'all have
everybody tomorrow.